Hey, good morning still, right? Is it morning?
Says you are live. Does that mean we're live?
That means we're live. And we're early too. We are 19 minutes early.
That's the first time you could ever say that about yourself.
No, I'm always early. I'm always early. Anyhow, Leah here. Wes, thanks for joining me on this Friday morning.
No problem.
Appreciate it. We've been talking all week, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So this week we've been having that serious discussion and talking about what it means to us, talking to local and area experts out there, and letting you know that it's okay not to be okay and that you're not alone either. So want to throw up those numbers one more time because help is available 24/7 if you or someone you know is in crisis and are looking for somebody to talk to. Again, just want to recap what we did talk about this week, knowing the risks, the warning signs, what to do if you or anyone you know is in a crisis, and all of the information and the resources are out there for you. I reposted the videos and linked all of that up over at 1023xlc.com. Now, I talk about my mental illness quite often and the fact that I struggle with just anxiety and depression, and how it's okay to feel those things. And it's okay to recognize those things, because I think that that's where people struggle, is not knowing that they need the help or being afraid to ask for the help.
Sure. I mean, it's your thing. I don't know what you want me to say about that.
Because everyone's like, oh, Leah's just sitting down and talking about it. But really, I mean, unfortunately, the reality is that you or someone you know is going to be affected by suicide in their lifetime. I have been, Wes has been on
a couple occasions. Yeah.
So just really wanted you to join and show that rawness of Wes and the sensitive side of Wes.
Oh, you see it every day. Are you kidding me? That's all you see is the sensitive side of me.
No, but why? I mean, this is important to you as well. Just really everyone.
I wish I was. Me and my daughter were going to go like a month ago. I was going to get my tattoo, and I haven't had a chance to get it yet.
Are you doing the semicolon?
Semicolon, yeah. No, like my story and why I think a lot of the personality I have is because of the situation that happened to me when I was 13. My best friend killed himself when I was 13. And it deeply impacted my life. Being a 13-year-old kid, not knowing, I mean, I was lost. And in 19 whatever hundreds, when I was 13 years old, they didn't really have this kind of thing where you have a number or somebody to talk to. So they sent me to the school counselor at the school I went to in a junior high, and that person didn't know how to handle it. And they're like, "You good?" And I was like,
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Skedaddle. And I never really got the help that I needed. But thankfully, in my case, and it's not the same in a lot of people's cases, I handled it probably in a good way, as I turned everything into it had to be funny. I wasn't able to deal necessarily with being lost, being scared, being sad. I didn't know how to deal with those things. So the only thing I did is turn every day to being funny and just turning everything into a joke. And I know you make fun of me a lot that I don't have a sensitive side, or I don't have a soul, is always a joke. I do have things in my life I care about, but a lot of things, I feel like that day when my best friend killed himself at 13, a lot of parts of my life shut off, and I had to, because it was the only way I could deal with it. And then I turned everything into a joke, and 40 years later, I'm still making a joke out of everything. And so, yeah, I mean, there's, when anybody talks about suicide or somebody that has somebody in their life close to them, it brings me back to a 13-year-old kid all the time. So not that I understand anybody's PTSD, but it's still very much an anxiety in my life when anybody talks about somebody in their life that suicide's happening. I instantly, I become a 13-year-old kid that's lost and scared again. And unfortunately, that wasn't the only time in my life that it did impact me. It was 9 years ago now, coming up later this month. I got the great pleasure of being one of the people to find one of my good friends that had committed suicide. And again, in my life, going right back to, going down this traumatic, don't know how to turn to anybody. And again, now it's more my fault as an adult when it happened 9 years ago, that it's my own fault for not going to get help, because I just went, nobody's going to help me. Nobody helped me however many years ago. They're not going to help me now. And so I just didn't. And that one has also impacted my life, and probably even made me a little more heartless, I should say, not less heartless, a little more heartless, that I was like, I don't care about much of the world anymore, because this is just it's my deal. Everybody has their things they have to deal with, their bucket of things they have to deal with. And I don't want to keep going off on my story. This is more to help other people. But for a long time in my life, I wanted to do something for the people left behind, because I feel like, it's a scary and sad situation for a lot of people, but it affects more people than you'll ever know.
Right.
The ripple effect of something like this happening, it's, the fact that 30 years later, it still makes me just have, I don't get a lot of anxiety, but just even talking about it, as you can see, I'm probably sweating right now. I don't like to talk about it. It's uncomfortable. It makes me sad. It makes me just, again, go back to a 13-year-old boy that just doesn't know how to even handle it and is scared of it. And having kids now that are my age when this happened, I'm petrified. Like I live every day. And, as I'm sure people that have, had people die in car accidents or any other awful things that could happen to people, it's the thing in my life every day that every single day it strikes an immense fear in me of suicide. It just does. It scares me to death to think of anybody
losing anybody else that way.
So that's that.
Well, I know that, and I appreciate you sitting down and talking to us about that, because I know, again, that it can be uncomfortable. It's a serious conversation, but it's also one that we need to be talking about. We need to be bringing awareness to, and that's the way that we're going to end up, preventing someone from doing that. Now, ending the stigma is really what this month and this week and all the local and area experts that were on with us really talked about, is the stigma that comes along with suicide. There is a way, and Wes, I know you tell me all the time that I need, it's the power of, what is it called?
Art of positive thinking.
Art of positive thinking. When someone's struggling out there with, whether it be anxiety or depression. I was on with Dr. Court. We're on a first name basis now. But Dr. Court and I were talking.
Because you can't remember his last name, let's be honest.
Well, it was Cortland Dahl, and that was just a mouthful. So Court and I were on yesterday, and we talked about breaking the loop of negativity and how it is like training your brain. And however, there are people out there that are struggling and they're stuck in that loop, and they feel like there's never going to be a way out of it. And there can be. Just you have somebody that you can talk to. If you are in an absolute crisis, again, right now, help is available 24/7. There are people there that want to talk to you, that want to help support you. That number, 800-273-8255, or talk. You could also text home to 741-741 in so many different ways to get that help. And, or if you're just looking to get involved, if you've been affected, or someone who's been affected and you're like, I want to do something to stop that, the Lake County Task Force, the Lake County Suicide Prevention Task Force, they're out there, they're doing big things. They have a walk coming up. Again, you could get all of that information over at 1023xlc.com. There's a couple comments here. Oh, CJ. CJ actually agrees with you, Wes, which usually doesn't happen. You're right, Wes. Good point. Good point on everything, or just?
I think it has nothing to do with this. I think CJ just told me I'm right in a lot of aspects of my life.
Sure.
I think that's what it's got to be.
I assume that is it. But again, suicide, 11th leading cause of death here, not only in Illinois, but in the States. And it is an absolute issue. We had many doctors on this week with our youth. I know you said that you worry about your kids and you losing your best friend at 13. It's the second leading cause. It was the third, and now it's the second leading cause of death in teens. And that needs to be stopped. We need to make sure that,
which is so sad for me, because it's, there's so much as a teenager, you've lived that much of your life. Yeah. You still have all this to go.
And what I tell my son, because I could see parts back when I was younger, and I know that it was happening then, but I didn't even think that was an option. And it's scary to think about, because my anxiety was so bad back then, and I didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to, but I never thought that was an option, and I'm glad I didn't. But nowadays it's and it's not that people are talking about it. It's just, it's happening more. And I think it's because we're afraid to talk about it. One of the common misconceptions is that talking about it is going to make somebody who may or may not be struggling think about doing it. And we've had doctors debunk that. They're like, if you ask somebody if they are going to do that, it's not going to make them go do that. So check in on your friends, check in on your family, check in on those that are at risk, or check in on the person that's walking around at work smiling, that you think is happy every day, that may be going home and just sleeping to get to the next day. That was another discussion that we had throughout this week. So I just want to thank everybody who was a part of Suicide Prevention Awareness Week.
And the whole month, right?
It's
especially
it's the month. They highlight the week, and then yesterday was Suicide Prevention Day. So this whole month, and it's something that we need to be talking about throughout the year, especially these days. People are feeling the anxiety and the loss and the depression, things that they've never felt before because of the situation that we're in. A lot of people are feeling disconnected. A lot of people who were thriving and going to therapy and doing well are not able to go in and see their doctors anymore. So it's just something that we need to make sure we're checking on our people and checking in with yourself. And if you realize that you do not feel okay, that's okay. What's not okay is not seeking the help that is out there and that you can get. And again, then there's people left behind that, it's a ripple effect. So again, if you need help, reach out. Not to us, because we're not therapists. We could just only share our story.
I am, but not for things like this.
You're not a therapist. There's not.
I try.
There's nothing. No, you help me. You make me laugh, which is a good outlet for my anxiety as well. So thank you. Thanks for being on with me.
You want a knock joke? Is that what you want right now?
I mean, if you want to tell somebody the knock joke.
No, I don't want to tell you knock joke.
Barb says, thank you for addressing this. Love you. All right, we'll just end on that. Do you see what she said?
Oh yeah, I've known Barb for years. I've actually known Barb for like 25 years. She knew me when I was like 19 years old. So
okay, well, you are awesome. You're awesome. We'll leave it at that.
Ever say that. I actually have to take a recording of this.
Take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow.